So if a white person hates an Asian person because they are Asian, is that racist? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, if a Hispanic person hates an Asian because they're Asian, is that racist?
This is what I said. This is why I said no. Is because no. Listen, it's not because we're not getting anywhere. It's because this is why I brought up the example of the machine, right? This is why I brought up the example of the machine and why I explained systemic and structural racism and why I spoke of the power dynamic. The power dynamic is very important because that actually determines whether it is racist or not. And now when you think.
You know, it seems like the anti-racists are actually more racist than the racists themselves. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okudowski of WeAreChange.org. A lot of very interesting news coming out about the billionaire class, which of course we're going to be talking about extensively. But in the beginning of this video, we highlighted a clip of some of the prevailing logic that is usually being promoted on big tech social media with verified accounts, promoting an ideology that definitely benefits the billionaire class, while anyone who dares to speak out against this lunacy is canceled. And we reached a point of absurdity where even the former president of the United States has officially declared that cancel culture has gone too far, even very interestingly saying this.
A lot of the dangers of cancel culture and, we're just going to be condemning people all the time. At least among my daughters, that they'll acknowledge that sometimes among their peer group or in college campuses, you'll see folks going overboard.
Going overboard is one way of describing it, as some business leaders have come out and said that they refuse to hire Ivy League graduates anymore because they're either too woke and self-important or too afraid to stand up to the cancel culture happening right now. And while these same people try to cancel, destroy someone's livelihood for the smallest microaggression, a lot of these people puppeteer the same talking points, like from this medical journal from the American Psychoanalytic Association that describes people being white as parasitic pathology that has no cure. Yes, the article was written by Dr. Donald Mose that is entitled On Having Whiteness, and these are the academics teaching people this woke ideology that is translating to societal decay that is having real life effects, like many people being disenfranchised, fired, excluded from society because of the way that they were born, just like this comedian, Nick Dixon, who was refused a comedy gig for being white, straight, and able-bodied. And those stories are becoming more and more common if we're lucky enough to even hear about them because of the big tech algorithms that clearly are invested in pushing cancel culture, woke ideology that in large parts allows billionaires to be in such powerful positions that they are in now, without even anyone noticing. And let's be honest here, some people are so self-absorbed, it's fascinating that they could be aware of anything else that's not revolving around them. And this is perfectly represented by a South Korean company that just invented a third eye so smartphone zombies could be able to walk the sidewalks without running into traffic or bumping into something. Yeah, the device literally signals before you're about to walk into something. If you thought masks and face shields were a pretty embarrassing look, oh boy, wait for this thing to get popular. And as the West almost certainly is in decline, other developing countries like El Salvador are deciding to put their future in their own hands, as El Salvador has just officially become the first country to approve Bitcoin as legal currency in its state. This, as the country's Congress has just voted and accepted through a majority vote, and will be accepting Bitcoin as legal tender alongside the US dollar in just 90 days. This is the first country in the world to do this. There are some major significance and implication here that, of course, we are going to be following very closely. You could also become a permanent resident of El Salvador if you hold 3 Bitcoin. A lot of entrepreneurs are flocking to that country right now, since, of course, a lot of them will also save a huge amount of money from restrictive taxes and regulations that usually prevent a lot of economic freedom freedom in the world. Also, very interestingly, the president of El Salvador announced that the U.S. State Department and the International Monetary Fund have reached out to him, and we could only hope that there won't be some economic hitman activity when it comes to the future of El Salvador. Now, while developing countries are becoming more economically free, some major countries like Canada are becoming more restrictive by the day, and only on their official Twitter account announce that the country of Canada is, quote, free to be me. This is the same country, by the way, that has been arresting people and throwing them in jail for practicing their religion, doing business, or having friends over in their house. This again for a country that took away the wealth of its citizens with lockdowns and restrictions that even the science is showing has absolutely no effect, but creating more poverty, destroying the middle class, and only enriching the billionaires that play by a different set of rules, allowing them to be open with their enterprises. But if you're a small business in Canada, well, you will feel the full might of the police state. But hey, it's okay, because the Twitter account of Canada put the rainbow flag with trans identity and BLM on their official Twitter account. And some of this woke Orwellian statist ideology is also finding its way in the United States, with the Foo Fighters announcing something that we can't even talk about. We're going to be talking about this, by the way, officially on LukeUncensored.com. There's a lot of very big, important details that we cannot get into in this video because YouTube will just take it down. There's a really crazy new video of Peter Daszak. There's a lot of cover-ups. There's a lot of restrictions. There's a lot of lies that we could sadly only expose on LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up on that platform, sign up right now. There is so much information that is worth having. If you're interested in having it, invest in it right now on LukeUncensored.com. And before moving forward, I'm interested in making a trip to El Salvador. If I know anyone is interested in doing the same or has some projects or businesses that they want to launch in El Salvador, it would be great to talk to you guys. If you're doing this, please email us at info@wearechange.org. The email is down in the description below. And who knows, I might be able to partner or even just help out a potential business ventures that could be growing and expanding in the country of El Salvador. I'm very interested in at least visiting the country. If you are as well, again, email us info@wearechange.org. That is our email. We are officially answering emails now. So if you have any problems, issues, email us again. It's down in the description below. Now, it definitely seems like the billionaire class not only play by a different set of rules, but almost with every aspect, whether it's with the woke ideology, cancel culture, the lockdowns, the restrictions, taxes, regulations, the laws are designed to specifically solely benefit this huge, powerful special interest of big money that is able to successfully lobby government to do their bidding that only enriches and empowers them so much more. A lot of these billionaires are sick, twisted individuals that also do unspeakable things with children. We're, of course, talking about Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates' close buddy. Ghislaine Maxwell was even pictured with Elon Musk before. Billionaire, out-of-touch former New York City mayor Michael Bloomberg had extensive meetings and relations with Jeffrey Epstein, and we're still unaware about others, since this man was so well connected. Sitting here in this photo with what looks like CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, and of course across from him, his long-standing business partner and most prominent client, Victoria's Secret retail magnate Les Wexner, who also is severely implicated in the thousands of children that were hurt by Jeffrey Epstein, but yet has still not faced any significant public scrutiny or legal ramifications because of. And when you're buying things at Bed Bath & Beyond, Victoria's Secret, and Crombie & Fitch, you're essentially investing in the future hurting of children in absolutely unspeakable ways that, of course, we can't even mention here on this platform. Since Les Wexner, the man behind all of those businesses, was one of the main people behind the mystery money that Jeffrey Epstein somehow had. That, again, essentially came out of nowhere, with many of the big banks, like Deutsche Bank, caught many times not following guidances, breaking the law, and allowing very suspicious money deals and money transfers, specifically when it came to Jeffrey Epstein, to a point where even Deutsche Bank had to pay a fine for their irregular activities surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, which they knew, even at the time of conducting business with him, that he was a man that hurt children. The majority of the financial institutions, the majority of the big banks have been implicated here, and that's why it shouldn't surprise you that the corruption goes all the way up, not just from private enterprise, but of course to public enterprises with the federal government, with the IRS, many times looking the other way when it came to Jeffrey Epstein, but also specifically allowing the billionaires to play by a different set of rules that allows them to not be burdened by all the heavy regulations and taxes imposed on private enterprise in this country, which keeps them richer than ever. And this is why we see a lot of these billionaires call for more regulations, more government, more taxes, because it solely benefits them. As we have this latest publication by ProPublica that released a trove of never-before-seen records about how some of the most powerful, richest people in the world avoid taxes. Now, before even jumping into that, Vanity Fair actually wrote a pretty fair article on billionaire Les Wexner. It is definitely worth a read. I found it fascinating. You just have to type in the mogul and the monster. Definitely worth a read. But it just shows you and highlights the high-level corruption that is institutionalized in this country. The super rich, many of them, their tax liability is 3.4% after, of course, the nonprofit investigation by ProPublica that highlighted how Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Michael Bloomberg, Warren Buffett, all of these super statists are avoiding taxes because most of their wealth is tied up in companies that they own. And then we wonder, with the government locking down, restricting, heavily taxing, heavily regulating small businesses, why they're the ones that are doing better than ever. And a large portion of that is because everyone else is paying a huge majority of tax burdens, from 25 to 50% of their revenue, while they, by and large, only have to pay 3%. Now, the response to this information is very telling from an individual to see if they're a statist or to see if they actually believe in freedom, because a statist is going to tell you we must tax them now immediately so they pay their fair share. And to me, that is absolutely illogical thinking because of many reasons. The Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air. Why would you want a government that acts on the behest of the special interests to be empowered even more with their money to carry out more of their decisions which hinder you and predominantly help them? There was even a mainline study showing how democracy is an absolute joke because popular policies that actually help people never get passed. The policies that big money special interests push always do get passed. And why would you want this vehicle that keeps funding the military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, the pharma industrial complex? Why would you want this vehicle to be empowered with more money? The answer to the snooze shouldn't be have them pay more. It should be everyone else should be paying less, if anything at all, since the Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air. The response to this should be, hey, we're going to use the same tricks that they're doing and legally limit their tax liability. Again, Warren Buffett just pays 0.1% of tax. I mean, if I was paying that, I'd be doing a lot better than everyone else is. But again, these people are just gaming the system that plays in favor to them. They play by a different set of rules. A lot of them could hurt children, get away with it, because the game is rigged. The game is financed by them. They paid off the referees. The scoreboard is rigged. You are absolutely getting screwed. You're getting cheated. And at the end of the day, if that wasn't enough, they're using government to rob you blind, especially with all the money printing going on right now, which essentially is a tax on savings without many people even realizing it. The government doesn't need to raise taxes to take away your money. All they have to do is literally print more of it, which they are. The dollar has less value. You get screwed holding the dollar. Meanwhile, all of these billionaires are investing in assets, in real estate, in commodities, in cryptocurrencies, and avoiding losing their wealth, which is going to continue to grow in drastic ways because the government is rigged against you. It has always been rigged against you. And the moment you realize that, the moment you could wake up to this true reality of what actually is happening in this world, the better off you will be in understanding and navigating life, where you won't be a victim to all these traps that the billionaires set for you for their own personal gain. Again, these people are ruthless. This is why they're billionaires in the first place. A lot of them are sociopathic. Some of them are satanic. A lot of them hurt children in unspeakable ways. There's many accounts of Bill Gates having a very hard time getting women to go to bed with him at Microsoft, but yet he has a very cozy relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, who provides rich people with underage children. A lot of these people are sick and twisted in more ways than one, but yet the mainstream media will glorify, will fluffer on national television individuals like Bill Gates. They did it to Jeffrey Epstein. They promoted Jeffrey Epstein when we were criticizing them as independent media, and that's how low down and dirty the facilitators of the billionaire class really are, and that's what they should be called rather than journalists or reporters, because that's the true reality of the situation. Wake up to that true reality. Start living your life in a totally different way that doesn't incentivize these monstrous, sociopathic, sick individuals, and your life, your soul, your existence on this very planet will become so much more better, so much more cleaner, clearer, and better. And if you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members. Again, the YouTube algorithm promotes the facilitators of the billionaire class, the mainstream media, and they downrank, they demonetize, they, of course, make sure that less and less people see these videos. But the only reason people are still seeing these videos is because you double-click that URL right now, send it to a random person, scroll. If you're on Telegram or Signal, scroll randomly. I don't care if it's a group, a page, send them this video. It's more important than ever, and because you do that, I'm still here. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org. Again, just spin the wheel. Wherever it lands, send them this video. Love you.